Nice. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about how I went to Vietnam and became an English teacher. Because a couple of years ago, I had this crazy dream where I wanted to just go to Vietnam and become an English teacher, teach my people, learn about the language, and learn something about myself, where I throw myself in a completely new environment. And I knew the way where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I don't really know anyone that else is an English teacher, so I'm just go out there and do it. Fast forward a year, there's a lot of things that I knew, I wish I knew, and how do you actually go this route? You're like, Peter, why did you choose English teaching? What's so cool about that? Ha ha ha. It's just a glorified babysitter. Well, 2023, 2022, I got fired, and I'm like, what is it that I always wanted to do was to move to Vietnam. And I knew a sure way to get a job and get into the country was to become an English teacher. I had experience teaching kids. I really liked having summer camp, being a leader, and I'm pretty good. So I went back to school and I'm actually certified, guys. I'm actually a certified English teacher teaching to adults. So what you need first when it comes to becoming an English teacher in Vietnam is one, you need a bachelor's degree, any degree, as long as it is a bachelor's of arts, bachelor's of something. 4 years, you get your piece of paper, especially if you're from a native English-speaking country. Hey, say hi to Mr. Peter. It's even a bonus if you're in education. Next is, let's say you're not in education. What you need is a certificate of teaching, whether that is a TESOL, teaching English to learners. You can get that online. I decided to get my CELTA. This is a Cambridge certified, pretty much the highest level. It's a 1 month intensive course, and I had to go back to school. Weekly readings, presentations, and in that class, every day you get to teach a lesson on grammar, speaking, listening, and writing. One of teachers' biggest dream is to talk to the world. My craziest dream. Got all my paperwork, and I applied for 4 English centers. Within Vietnam, there's public and private education. What you do is, what I did is I applied for 4 of these private English centers, very big within the country. And the thing is, I applied to all 4. Me being Vietnamese and overseas Vietnamese, I'm like, is there gonna be a bias? Are they gonna hire me? Right after I applied, immediately their HR team replied to me within even 2 hours, 24 hours. I went through 4 different interviews. Every single one of those interviews hired me and gave me an offer letter, even though I didn't have any teaching experience besides the course that I took. I got the job, I signed the paper, flew all the way to Vietnam, signed and got my work permit, and there you have it. I became an English teacher in Vietnam. And you're wondering, how much did I get paid? The average English teacher for my centers that I worked at started off at anywhere from 470 VND an hour, 470,000, which equates to $18 USD, $25 Canadian an hour. And you're like, wow, that's actually not that bad. But I worked at a after-school center. That meant the most I could get on a weekday, it's the 8 to 3 school, and these kids go to more school, which is 5 to 9 p.m. So the most you can get is $100 a day. And in Vietnam, that's pretty good. So I worked roughly the first 2-3 months full-time. I was raking in anywhere from 30 to 40 mil a month, which equates to almost $1,500, $2,000 a month. And you're like, can you survive off that? If you guys want me to make a video on that, I will. It is much more than you need to survive. You're already considered, working class, and you have a little bit, couple hundred to save. I was making 470, but I knew other teachers there that were working for 500K an hour. I went out to Vietnam, and me being like, oh my God, no one's gonna take me seriously. I didn't have enough experience. I slowly, with my teaching certificate, I gained the experience that I needed to gain. I can stand in front of a classroom and be like, hello, my name is Mr. Peter, and in this class, we'll be teaching you how to listen. We'll talk about speaking. This topic is going to help you. Blah, 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 blah. Is English teaching dead? Or is it in demand? It is still in very high demand, especially at the centers. Because becoming an English teacher, especially in Southeast Asia or in Vietnam, it has a high turnover rate. And I understand why. It's exhausting and it's not sustainable. Out of all the people that I've taught or worked with, my colleagues, they worked in Vietnam 2 years max and they all go back home. For some people, it's just an extended vacation. Some people, just life experience, a new start, a new adventure. But for me, it was a way where I could come into the country legally, get my paperwork, be around Vietnamese people, and just not think about it so much. To just stop thinking, I'm like, I want to go to Vietnam. I want to do this. And I went out and I did it. I learned the hard way, but there are a lot of lessons that I took away with me from this experience. Maybe some people can talk bad. And there's always this stereotype of like, English teaching is not a real job. Throw you into one of my classrooms and you teach a bunch of 15-year-olds about recycling or the power of AI or creativity. It's a real job. And it's not for everyone. Some people are there just to make money. Some are there to actually want their students to learn. And some just won't go there for an escape. And that's okay. I went there to generally try to be a good teacher. The first couple of weeks were terrifying. I was not great at public speaking. I'm still not. But over time, I got better and better. And I really understood what it took to become an English teacher. Can you survive in Vietnam in this day and age on an English teacher salary, 30 to 40 mil, $1,000? Hell yes, you can. Is it a lot of work? Yes. But there are places where you can look around. You go to public school, private school. But the thing is, the biggest question I have for all these teachers is how seriously you are about teaching English. And you have to be very frank with yourself. Are you teaching here because you actually like teaching? Or you're here just a paycheck and you're trying to do something else, which is completely fine. You just can't lie to yourself. For me, coming to Vietnam was my first entry point into being in Vietnam, having the right paperwork and visa so I don't have to do like a visa and border run, and actually be passionate about teaching and talking and being someone that people look up to, especially when it comes to having a foreigner mindset or a foreigner accent, is very valued in Vietnam. You teach English, although there might be hindrances if you are like me, there's some obstacles, some prejudice, because, I don't look white, or I don't look, if I looked Vietnamese, there'd probably be more, but because I don't have tall in stature, blue eyes, blonde hair, I don't necessarily get equated with being Canadian. And I probably get that all over the world, not just in Vietnam. So there were a little bit of, let's say, hesitancies where students would be like, hey, is teacher foreigner or is he Vietnamese? I was hired as a foreign native English teacher. And my manager was like, don't tell them you're Viet Kieu. Tell them that, yeah, you might learn a little bit of Vietnamese, but tell them you're from Canada. And for me, it was like, why did I need to tell that? I get from a marketing perspective, sure. But if the teacher knew English fluently and was born there and knew Vietnamese, I think that's a huge asset. But that's me coming from the Western world. It's not necessarily a dead-end job, but you have to think of it as how can you progress, right? Whether that's from financially, you want to make money and see how much you can save from your salary. I'll talk about that in the next video of like, can she live in $100, $1,000, $5,000 enough in Vietnam? I'll break down exactly how much you need. And the truth about English teaching in Vietnam is if you have a bachelor's, you speak fluent English, you can get a pretty decent job, even if you don't have that much experience, because you will learn along the way. The funny part is, towards the later months of my teaching, students start to recognize me. They pull up my Instagram, they pull up my TikTok. Hey, teacher, is that you? I'm like, yeah, that's me. Shh, 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 shh. Don't tell anyone. And you have to be careful because teacher can also understand Vietnamese. That was another funny part. So if you guys want to learn how to be an English teacher, you can book a session with me, and I can break you down of like what exact documents you need to become an English teacher, everything you need to bring to Vietnam, all my paperworks, criminal record checks, things that you need, as well as how much experience and planning do you need to go into each lesson. It all depends. But if you're serious about coming to Vietnam, some people just come here without a plan. But I highly suggest you don't do that. Come here with a plan, any plan, and you can figure it out along the way. Whether you want to build a business, you want to get your foot into the ground, you want to make content, English teaching is still much of a viable means, and the market is still very high for English teachers. Do you want to do it forever?